Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do my August wrap up of all the books that I read. To be honest with you, I didn't read that many books, and you know what? That's okay. I'm not mad about it, but I do want to show you what I read, talk about what I read, and then sort of tell you about the books I'm hoping to read in September. This isn't a strict TBR. I'm not doing a TBR this month. I did it last month and I only finished about half of it. Spoiler alert. But I want to sort of talk about the things that I'm really hoping to read in September, even if it's not like 100% guaranteed that I'll read them. Oh, there's a couple of things I really wanted to mention to you that are very, very exciting. So in August, I hit 1,000 followers over on my Instagram, which was a huge goal of mine, and it was the goal for the end of the year, basically. In 2021, I wanted to hit 1,000 followers on Instagram. So I hit 1,000 followers, and I also had a goal of hitting 100 subscribers on YouTube, and you guys have doubled that. I have over 200 subscribers now, which in the scheme of the YouTube world is not a lot, but to me it means so much because I really didn't think I would even reach that point, especially not in August. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy to have a community of people who love books and want to talk about books and learn together, and it just means the world to me that you're here. So thank you so much for that. And the other exciting thing is that I talk about the YouTube channel and blog Books and Bao all the time. I've mentioned them many times on this channel. They give really great translated literature recommendations, and I end up reading a lot of the books they recommend. So they were looking for writers for Books and Bao, and I ended up reaching out to them, and I was able to write an article, 7 books on mothers and motherhood from around the world, and that is now up on their blog, so a link to that will be in the description. I'm so excited to have this opportunity, and I'm currently working on my next article for them, which is just incredible and blows my mind that I'm able to do that, so I'm really, really grateful and excited about that. Those are the very important updates for August, and without further ado, let's get into the wrap-up. Okay, so the first book that I read in August was Little Eyes by Samantha Schweblin. So I read this book as a buddy read for Whit Month with my friend Marina over at Oddball Reads on Instagram. I will link her Instagram in the description as well. So basically we decided to pick a book that was on both of our TBRs already and just buddy read it, and we chose Little Eyes. So the best way to explain this book is that there are 2 groups of individuals. There are dwellers and there are keepers. And the keepers go out and buy these little robotic animals called Kentuckys, and they bring them into their home and they like take care of them, make sure they're charged, and then basically just live with them. And then the dwellers are actually inside the Kentuckys, so they control the robot's movements through a tablet, and they get to watch everything that's happening in the keeper's life and their home and everything. So it's about being watched, it's about connections across the globe and the randomization of that, and honestly it's a lot about how social media connects us, but also how it can bring out really dark, horrible sides of us and make us more vulnerable and allow people to do things they would never do in person because there's not consequences in the same way. There's a full review of this on Instagram and on Goodreads, which will both be linked below, but I really, really liked this book, and it was such a good book to buddy read because there's just so much to talk about, so we had such a great time talking about this book. This was a 4-star for me. It wasn't like an all-time favorite, but I did really, really enjoy it, and I'm glad I read it for Whit Month. So the next book that I read for Whit Month was The Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferrante, also a book that my friend Marina had read. Wasn't a buddy read, just happened to be coincidental, but this book follows a woman named Olga whose husband cheats on her and leaves her for another woman, and she's basically left to raise her 2 children, and it basically centers around her trying to figure out how to take care of her children and deal with all of the things that she's going through, all of the trauma that she has from this situation by herself, and it's very isolating and lonely and frustrating for her. So there are a lot of things that I liked about this book, especially in the beginning. Like the first half of this book I really, really, really loved, and then it sort of took a turn and got a little bit, I don't know if like boring is the right word, but a little bit too strange and a little bit too confined. I really liked how it was going in the beginning, and at some point there was a switch. I don't entirely know why. I can't articulate it fully. So yeah, there were things that I did enjoy about this. I liked the premise, I liked the themes and the discussions behind it, but the actual reality of reading this, it just wasn't super fun. So it got a 3-star from me, which honestly is not like a bad review. It's basically just me saying it wasn't great and it wasn't bad. It was just a book I read. But I was really excited about reading a piece of Italian translated literature, which I had never done before. So at least I got that out of the way, and I also was able to sort of broaden what I was reading for Wit Month. So I'm glad I ended up doing that. And then the final book off of my Women in Translation Month TBR that I read was The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Natsuko Imemura. This was a book that I had been wanting to read for quite a while, ever since it came out. So this book basically follows the woman in the yellow cardigan, who is our narrator, as she follows around the woman in the purple skirt and just observes her daily life, to the point where she knows all of the patterns of where she'll be and when, who she hangs out with, where she lives, what she eats. It's really stalkerish and creepy and does really get under your skin. This is a book where I felt like I finished it and I didn't know what to say about it. And it got a 4-star from me because I genuinely really liked it and thought it was really, really interesting. But I didn't have a lot to say about it. Like, I didn't write a review about this. I didn't really talk about it that much with anyone because it just felt like a book where you go through the journey with it and then you close it and then it's just over. Like, it's just, that's all you need to interact with it. It's done. And that doesn't mean I haven't thought about it. It just means that there wasn't anything I needed to add to the discussion, if that makes any sense. So I didn't write a review of this, but I did really, really enjoy it. Again, it just wasn't like a 5 out of 5 favorite kind of situation, but it was a really good book, and it was very strange and surreal and creepy, and I do highly recommend it if you're interested in that. This was a Japanese translated piece, so I ended up reading something translated from Japanese, something translated from Italian, and something translated from Spanish. So at least I had a bit of range, even though I didn't end up finishing my entire TBR for Wit Month. So I didn't finish my Wit Month TBR, but I got halfway through it, and I ended up diverting from my TBR to read a book that I was incredibly excited about and totally 100% held up to the hype that I had for it. And the book in question is All's Well by Mona Awad. Oh my goodness. Do you see this cover? Is that not the most incredible cover ever? So basically, I read Bunny, Mona Awad's other book, in March, I believe. March or April, maybe April. It was so weird. Like, it was one of the weirdest books, if not the weirdest book that I've ever read in my life. And it got 4 stars from me because I was totally pulled in and I was really, really enjoying reading it. But it was just a little bit too gory, and I had to suspend my disbelief so much that it just was not quite a 5-star. Oh my god, this one on the other hand, 5 stars. So this book follows a character named Miranda, who was once a really, really successful theater actress. She did Shakespeare plays for the most part, and she ends up falling off the stage in a performance as Helen from All's Well That Ends Well. So she was in that performance, fell off the stage, and basically at that point, her career was over. She hurt her hip and her back and has chronic pain, and she ends up kind of becoming addicted to prescription drugs and abusing those in the beginning of the book, at least. So it sort of follows that journey, but also the journey of her starting to teach at a college. She's like the theater program director at a college. And when the book starts, we're thrown into the situation where she's trying to put on All's Well That Ends Well, and the students really want to do Macbeth, and she sort of has to navigate that situation while also navigating her chronic pain. And from there, everything just goes fucking crazy. I mean, it's so much. I don't want to give you too much to go off of with this, because I think going into it without knowing exactly what happens or where the trajectory goes is probably a good thing for Mona Awad's work. What I loved about this book is that it felt more nuanced and more mature than Bunny. I can definitely see the progression of Mona Awad's writing and how she has gotten better over time, and how she's able to pull in more themes and more, you know, kind of nuanced elements to her work that I didn't see as much in Bunny. I definitely saw them there, but I feel like it's really elevated in this book, and this totally got a 5 out of 5 for me. It deserves it so much. Not only did I have a really, really fun time reading this and was totally invested and in the story, but I'm still thinking about it, and I'm still kind of putting together the themes, and I feel like when I reread this, inevitably, I will get more of that, and if I annotate it, I'll get even more of that. So I love reading a book where you know that every subsequent time you read it, you will get more out of it, and as you think about it, you'll get more out of it. Like, that's such a unique, cool thing to experience with a book. So if you're okay with the weirdness, I highly, highly recommend this book. It is so incredible. Alright, that is the wrap-up portion of the video. Now I just briefly want to talk to you about what I will be hopefully reading in September. So most of this is actually things that I'm currently reading and that I want to finish. The first of which is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Yes, I am finally tackling this book. I am vlogging it, so stay tuned for that. It'll be coming out soon. I promised the people of Instagram that once I hit 1,000 followers, I would read this and vlog it and talk about it on my Instagram, etc. So now that I've hit 1,000, I picked this one up. I am currently 120 pages into it, working through it, so I'm not going to talk in depth about what I think about it now, because you'll have to go watch the vlog, but this will be finished in September, at some point in September. Can't tell you when, but I will be finishing this in September, and I am very excited to talk to you about my thoughts. So yeah, this is my top priority read for September. I definitely got a head start since it's still August, but I will be finishing this hopefully soon. The next book that I definitely want to read in September is With Teeth by Kristen Arnett, which I actually already started. I got like 30 pages into it, and then I hit 1,000 followers, and then I picked up A Little Life. So I have this one also kind of as a backup if I need a break from A Little Life and it's becoming too much and I need to read something else for a little while. So hopefully I don't lose track of what I read so far in this, so I don't have to start over, but if I do, it's whatever. But ultimately, I do really want to read this one in September because I was super excited about this one, and now that I've started it, I definitely want to get through it in September. And the final book that I'm hoping to get to in September, and maybe I'll read more than 3 books, I'm not sure, but I do really want to get to There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job by Kikoku Sumera, and this was translated from the Japanese, I believe. Yeah, this was translated from the Japanese. So this is a book that's basically about a young woman who is trying to find a job that's really easy and that she doesn't have to put a ton of effort into, and she obviously finds out that there is no such thing as an easy job, as the title suggests. I've had this book on my TBR for a little while, and I really want to get this read for the article that I was talking about. I'm working on another article for Books and Bao, and I do really want to read this one before I have to submit that article. So after I finish the other 2 books I'm currently reading, this will be my top priority. Alright, so that is my August wrap-up and my sort-of-ish TBR for September. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you read in August and what you're excited to read in September. Stay tuned for the Little Life reading vlog that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!